Hey everyone, we are so excited that you all have decided to serve on our youth worship team. There's a few things that you're going to need as far as getting chord charts and songs and tracks and everything so that you can prepare well and so you can lead people well from that stage. And so I wanted to make this video to be able to give you all kind of a run through of the tools that we're going to be using. Make sure you understand how to get signed up and logged into everything and have a good way of going in every single week and getting the songs that you need, getting the tracks that you need, and being able to practice. So we're going to go through a couple different things. The first is getting set up with your Planning Center account. So this is what we're going to use to be able to schedule you on a week-to-week basis and for you to be able to get in and see the chord charts and the tracks and the songs for that week. We're going to look at that first on a computer and then also take a look at what the apps are that you can potentially get on your phone if you have one to be able to look at that material there. But you can do everything on a computer. So if you don't have a phone or don't have access to be able to get these apps on your phone, you don't need any of those. You can do everything just online on a computer. And then we're also going to be looking at Multitracks, which is a site that we use in order to give you a little bit more individual tracks to be able to listen to for these songs. So first let's dive into Planning Center, and I'm going to pull up what that's going to look like on your computer after you get logged in. So let's check that out. Okay, so once you have created your Planning Center account through the welcome email that you're going to get, you will log in, and if you aren't already on the services page, up here in the top left corner will be a drop down and you won't see all this, but if for some reason you're on the home page, you can just drop down and click services, and that will bring you to this page right here. Again, yours is going to look a little bit simpler than mine does because you won't have as much going on, but you should see this KC Youth under your service types. And so the way this will work is these will be all of our services where I can add the songs and add anything else that we're going to do on Sunday night. And so when you are scheduled, we'll click on one of these services, and let me go back to a week here recently where we had some songs. So when you are scheduled, you will show up under this Teams, and I'll create a worship section to schedule you in, and you will be able to click into this plan and see the songs that we are doing for that Sunday night. So in order to listen to these songs and practice these songs, let's say we wanted to look at What a Beautiful Name. We're going to click on that. We're going to come over here and we're going to click on this highlighted section right here. So this brings you into the song itself with all the tracks and all the chord charts and the lyric sheets and anything else that you're going to need to practice this song. So let me go over each of these boxes and explain what's going on. So under the arrangement box, what you will have is a lyric sheet, which is just the lyrics to the song. And you will also have the original mix. So if we hit play on this, I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear this on this video, but the track will start playing down here at the bottom, and you can click through and listen to the song. And this is going to be just the original mix, just like it was right off the CD. And then in these other boxes, what you are going to see is the different keys that we're going to do the song in. And so if we go back real quick to the schedule, you'll see these out here on the side. So this is the key signature that we are going to do that song in. So What a Beautiful Name, we're going to be in the key of D. And so if you wanted to look at the chord chart for that song, we're going to go back into the song again, you'd see here's the key of D. We also have a chart in the key of E if we were going to do it in a different key. And this little arrow right here will help you scroll over, so if there's other keys, so we have a few different charts. But we are going to be in the key of D for this particular song. And so for you guitar players, you can either use the original chord chart, which has the chords in the key of D, or if you wanted to use your capo and maybe say B minor, maybe that's a tough chord for you to play, what we can do is we can look at the same chart, capo 2. So now you get to play C chords with a capo on the 2nd fret. And now instead of playing B minor, now you're playing A minor. So it's a little bit easier to play. But this would be the chord chart that you would be able to play with. And you can click on it and view it right here in the browser, or you can also download it or print it off. And I will talk about another way here in just a minute on how you can also access these chord charts. But those are the chord charts that you'll play with. And then here's the other section of this that's really important, is these are all of the individual tracks for this original mix. So if you click on any of these, you're going to hear two things. You're going to hear a click track, and you're also going to hear just that instrument. So let's say you're an acoustic guitar player and you are practicing this song. If you click on guitar, AG, which is acoustic guitar, EG would be electric guitar, and most tracks are going to have multiple different electric guitars playing different parts. But let's say we're an acoustic guitar player, we want to listen to the acoustic guitar track. We would come over, we'd hover over that, and we'd hit this play button right here. And then, if you can hear that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So you're going to hear that click and you're going to hear that guide, but if you notice here at the beginning of the song, there is no acoustic guitar. If you go back and listen to this track, the acoustic guitar doesn't start playing until much later. And so if we listen to this track for a little bit, there's not going to be any acoustic guitar playing, but when we get to the acoustic guitar part, it's going to be much louder, and so you can play along with it in that way. So let me find where that kicks in. So you can start to hear. Let's see. So it may be kind of hard to pick up the audio on this particular video, but what you'll hear is the rest of the track, the vocals, everything else is going to be much quieter, and the acoustic guitar is going to be pulled up higher in the mix. So these tracks are really helpful as you're practicing because you can highlight exactly what it is that you're playing. So if you're a drummer, you can listen to just the drums with the rest of the track turned down lower in the background. And so I would encourage you, once you get in here and you pull up the chord charts, is to listen through your tracks. If you're a bass player, you can listen to the bass track, so on and so forth, to help you learn a little bit better the parts that you're supposed to play. So that is the Planning Center services side. And for like Great Are You Lord, if we had another song, again, you can click on that, you click on this link, and you get brought into the same kind of page where you'll see the song, the original mix with the lyrics, chord charts, and all the individual tracks underneath. So the next thing that I want us to talk about is Multitracks and how you're going to get set up on that side. The second account that you are going to create is an account with Multitracks.com. Now you have to create this account in order to have access to all these individual tracks that we just looked at on the Planning Center side. But with this account, you also have something else available to you as a resource. So let me show you that by using Great Are You Lord as an example. So if we're on this page, so again, we got here from this plans page, we clicked on the song, clicked on the link over on the right, and we now are on the songs page, and we have the mix and the lyrics and the chord charts and all our individual tracks. But if we were to come up here and click on this CCLI number, CCLI is just a copyright number that's assigned to all of our songs. And if we copy that number and then come over here to multitracks.com, and you're going to log in with your Multitracks login information that you're going to have to set up. You should also get, similar to how you got a welcome email for Planning Center, you're going to get a welcome email for Multitracks that's going to prompt you through setting up your account. So once you have your account set up and you've logged in and you come to your home page, which is going to look a little bit different than mine. You're not going to have as much down here, but your homepage should look very similar. And you can click this little search icon up here in the top right. And if we come here and we paste in our CCLI number, we can see Great Are You Lord pops up right at the top. There's several different arrangements, so that's why it's important to use the CCLI number. You could search just Great Are You Lord, but be aware of which arrangement you're clicking on. So if we come back to Planning Center, you can see the picture of the arrangement that we're currently using is going to match this picture right here. So if we click on this first link, it pulls us into the Multitracks page of Great Are You Lord. And a lot of this is not relevant. There's a few different videos, there's some information on the song, but what we want is we want this rehearsal mix section right here. And it's going to say listen now. So if we click on that listen now button, we now are in the rehearsal mix section of Great Are You Lord. And what you have is all of the same tracks that are available over here on Planning Center. So if we look at guitar, we've got an acoustic guitar, electric guitar 1, 2, and 3. If we come over here, these are the same tracks right here. Acoustic guitar, electric guitar 1, 2, 3. But what you get on the multi-track side, if we click on that acoustic guitar mix, and it pulls it up down here at the bottom, is you have this cool feature right here called up mix and minus mix. So up mix is exactly the same as what you're going to listen to on the Planning Center side. And what that means is the acoustic guitar is going to be louder in the mix than everything else. So if we drag this over and listen for just a minute, you can hear how the acoustic guitar is much louder than the vocals or any other instruments that are in the track. But if we click on the minus mix,
chorus,
and then we go to this same section, let's listen to it again.
chorus,
So you'll notice you don't hear the acoustic really at all. And that can be a really helpful practice tool. So you can practice with the up mix so you can hear exactly what your part is supposed to do. You can listen to the acoustic guitar really closely and you can learn how they're playing and where they're playing. But then once you've done that and you've practiced that a lot, you can then flip over here to the minus mix. And then the acoustic guitar that was in that track is going to go away and it's only going to be you. So that can be a really helpful practice tool because then you can play through the track and just have your acoustic be the one that you're listening to and not have to play on top of anything else. And so that's available for you over here at multitracks.com. I think for drums, it's another one that could be really helpful, where again, if we listen to the up mix, you can hear the drums really well. And if we flip over here to the minus mix, the drums basically go away. And so if you're practicing with headphones on or whatever you're doing, you can then play right on top of the track and not have to wonder or not have to compete with the original drums. You can just play your own drums and practice it that way. So I would encourage you, you're going to have to set up a Multitracks account as it is. If you don't set that account up, these tracks are not going to work for you. So it's really important that you set up your multitracks.com account and then come on over here to multitracks.com and pull up these songs and use the up mix and the minus mix to help you practice a little bit more. So now we're looking at the Planning Center Services app. And this will have all the same information and all the same resources that you will if you log on to Planning Center on a computer. But for some of you, this may be a little bit easier to do on your phone. And so from here, you can see the same services. Yours should just have KC Youth. And if we click on that, we can select a date. So again, let's go into a plan. And let me first highlight these arrows up here at the top. Allows you to scroll through different dates. And so you all will have access to be able to view any plan, even if you're not scheduled for that date. You can come in here and look at the songs that we're going to do. But if we go up to July 3rd and we click on first the order, you'll see the two songs that we had loaded in there. If you click on What a Beautiful Name and we come over here to Files, we can see all the same files that we saw previously online. And you can click on any of these and it'll pull up the lyrics just like it did before. You can also listen to the tracks, the individual tracks, and you can also find the chord charts right here. The chord charts are PDFs listed inside the key attachments. And so that is all the same information that you saw online, just in a little bit of a different format. But one thing that I want to bring your attention to is, as you might run into with this, it's a little bit clunky to pull up, PDFs and everything like that from this app. And so the second app, if you're going to do this inside of apps that you may want to get, is called Planning Center Music Stand. And what this does is, if I pull up, let's just go to the 21st. This is a set list that I have together for our worship team. And if we look at this, I can now select a song, and it pulls up the chord chart directly inside the app, and I can now flip through each song back to back to back. And so this is a little bit easier to practice with. And when you're in here, if you select up here at the top, you can also listen to the tracks. So if I hit play, I think, yeah, there they go. You can hear the tracks start taking off. And if you want to pick a different track, if you hit this up arrow, you can now come in here and select all of the different tracks, including the original mix, or any of the individual tracks that you may want to listen to. And so, again, it's a little bit, for me anyways, it's a little bit harder to do on a phone just because there's so much. I like seeing it maybe a little bit more listed out on a computer. But if you're working on a phone, all of this is available to you, and you'll have access to it. You'll have to log in through these apps with the same Planning Center login that you were given, or that you set up your account with. One last thing real quick before we get out of the apps is, if you are using Planning Center Services, this app, you can set up your settings to have notifications. And so you can, if you do that right in here, you can have scheduling request notifications turned on. And so if you do that, you can get emails as well, but you can also have your phone have a notification show up, so that when I schedule you, not only are you going to get a email, but you're also going to get a notification through the app. You can do these text notifications, but they're a bit spotty. Depending on who your service provider is, they may or may not work. So I would recommend using the app scheduling request notifications, or just sticking with your email notifications. So those are the two apps that you could use if those are helpful for you. But like I said, if you do not have a phone or don't have access to these apps, you do not have to have these. These are just additional resources. One other thing that I forgot to mention inside the Planning Center Music Stand app is these little drop downs right here underneath the individual songs. And so for Graves into Gardens, this example you can see is in the key of A. But if you click this little drop down arrow underneath that, you can see the different chord charts that you have available. So you could, right now I have it selected as capo 2 in G. So that means I'm going to be playing in the key of G with my capo on the 2nd fret for guitar players. But maybe you wanted to play with the original chord chart that was in A, then you would select that in that drop down, and then when you click on it, the chords that show up are going to be in the key of A instead of the key of G. So that's just something to keep in mind as you are going going through and maybe using Music Stand is make sure you come in here and select the correct chart that you want to see, because once you go into this side, you can't change that. So you have to go back to this original menu and go in and select all the correct keys and any capos that you may want before you click into the songs. So that's just something to keep in mind, particularly for you guitar players that are maybe using some capo charts. Make sure you have those selected correctly underneath each song. All right, so I know that was a lot of information, a lot of new things for you to figure out and tools for you to use. But I know that these are going to be really good resources for you as you all practice and try to get better and try to learn these songs. These are some really good tools and resources for you to be able to learn these songs better and to become better worship leaders. If you have trouble with any of this, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. I'll help you figure out whatever your individual issues are. But I need you to find that welcome email that you have for Planning Center and for Multitracks and set up your accounts and get logged in and start playing around with some of this and look at the songs that we have listed for the August 7th service. These are going to be the songs that we're going to use all semester long. So there's about 10 songs in there, and I want you to start chipping away at listening to them, pulling up the chord charts, start playing through them if you can. And we're going to have a practice coming up real soon where we can sit down and look at these a little bit more in depth. But when you get logged into this Planning Center, go try to find that August 7th service and start looking at those songs, and then go over to Multitracks and you can start listening to some of the tracks there as well. And just give your best shot at trying to practice some of these songs, trying to learn some of these songs, and we'll come together real soon and be able to work on them together. So appreciate you guys. I'm so excited to be able to watch you grow as worship leaders and to help pour into you as you guys lead our youth group this year.